let's move to logistics. Today I think every household, including in our households, our kids. My kids are like 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds. They also know how to go to Amazon, and they want to have a mobile cover, or they want to have a little toy, or whatever they want to have. They can actually speak to the phone and start doing their ordering. And which is where I come. I think logistics. That's the other component of this investment strategy that you sort of manage. Although that is about say 11%, maybe you can give me the exact figure. Approximately 11% of your strategy is today towards the logistics, and the other almost 90% or so is towards auto sector. But we don't think twice today. That's a way of life. And there is talk of drones delivering pizzas very shortly. Domino's is going to do that, and there are all sorts of technologies coming in right in the transportation sector. So once upon a time, sorry, in the logistics sector. So once upon a time, we only used to think of logistics like these huge trailers with like 100 tires and moving equipment from ports to another manufacturing utility and things like that. But today that logistics has come right into our house, and each one of us is a consumer in one way or the other. So is there equal amount of opportunity in the logistics space, and do you actually see the logistics space also getting transformed in a way that we haven't probably imagined in the last maybe 20 years, and the next 10 years logistics could be into a completely different zone?
Sure, Karthik. So, see, from logistics perspective, even today, so obviously is as the economic activity goes up, you will see that the entire logistics piece growing leaps and bounds. But especially the opportunity I'm more excited about is the way it will actually shape up. So even today, if you look at the crude way, if you look at the logistics, it's nothing but a truck, or let's say we're talking about the larger piece, a vehicle taking one article and delivering it to somebody else. Today, this vehicle who takes up the article and deliver, large part of it is done by, let's say it's a trucking activity, and almost 90% of this trucking is owned by individuals. And there is an element of unorganized into it. There is an element that people are trying to actually save on some of the taxes, and which is where this industry is actually flourishing with one or two single owner. But post GST, so even if you recollect today, even there is this the word you and your investors, especially your investors, must be keep hearing, or in fact some of them may be involved, is the e-way bill, right?
Right.
So it has not been properly implemented by the government. Obviously, they also don't want to disturb the trade. But once this e-way bill start to happen on the government portal, is when you will see good chunk of this activity actually shifting to the organized players who are, so eventually they will use the services of these small guys, but they will be the one who will be providing this complete solution. With the player is that let's say a big FMCG company, they still want to get involved with the logistics piece, because somewhere they're unsecure, because there are chota truckers, so they don't want to deal with so many guys, right? They want to deal with one single guy who can provide an affordable solution. So once you see these guys growing and trying, then let's say Sachin Trivedi becomes a reasonably big size, or the Karthik becomes a reasonably big size operator, he walks into the HUL and tell the HUL or the other FMCG company that, hey, I can provide you a reliable service, is when HUL will want to actually take away that service from his own internal staff and give it to Karthik.
Right.
That's the activity we are more excited when. You must have heard this word 3PL, the jargon 3PL, right? If in a simplified way, it is just this. This is the piece I see growing in multifold, because in India, it's a minuscule activity. It has just been used efficiently by the auto industry. But rest of the industry is actually not secured about they're not, it's not just about money, it's about reliability. And
Right.
that's the piece which will, once the formalization picks up, the guys become big. That's where you will see that this actually taking a much faster shape. And that's one piece. And the second piece is, let's say, obviously with this entire big infrastructure which the government is creating, along with the efficient road, is this dedicated freight corridor, which is a dedicated line for transportation or for the wagons or the freight. Once that start to kick in, you will see a dedicated infrastructure. So today, let's say some consignment move from Delhi to, let's say, Bombay. Nobody can give certainty on the Indian Railway that it will reach in next 24 hours or next 25 hours or let's say next 30 hours, because the first priority is train. So if a good train versus a passenger train, the passenger train will go first and the good train has to wait. That's where there is no priorities are given, and there is a mispricing happening. So once that dedicated line comes, you will see much more better efficient way the logistics is done, and that's how you will see that the opportunity, it will shape up the way I am describing.
Very well,
That's a
very well.
multi-year opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Because we are at such a nascent stage as it appears that there is so much that the government is also doing. The e-way bill will play a, a significant role in changing the life of, the transportation, the logistics players here. Now, all said and done, viewers, whenever you have a question, do put it in. I don't think we have too much time to take questions in, but do post it on the comment section of the YouTube. Do subscribe to our channel also if you like these shows and the productions that we're doing for you, so that you're, well informed in advance about all the other future activities. And I would want to wrap up this show, Sachin, with a very important angle to any investment. So whenever we talk of an investment, there is a certain potential inherent, I don't like to use the word risk, but factors that could sort of play against you, or things that could not really work our way. So in that sense, that discussion is not complete without the talk of what could possibly go wrong, or what could be the possible roadblocks, what are the hindrances for the kind of growth that we've spoken about for two-wheelers, for OEMs, for CVs, maybe for passenger vehicles, maybe for electric vehicles, that you very well explained that there's a long way to go. Plus, democracy being what it is, it has its own perils also. And also for the logistics, I think there is a lot of reform happening in that space. But generally speaking, see, investors, please understand that this is a sector that we are investing into. So it's a concentrated bet. So this is not like a diversified portfolio that we're talking about. You're taking bets only on automobile manufacturers, equipment manufacturers, ancillary spare part manufacturers, and things like that. So there is an inherent risk, sometimes cyclical, sometimes driven by demand, but we also know there is aspiration playing in, so it will keep going on all along. But Sachin, if you could sum up for us in terms of what are the risks as an investment manager, what are the risks that people should sort of take into account, take into their cognizance?
So, Karthik, it goes back to the initial point that we started is the wealth generation, basically associated with the income generation, right? So if I see my house prices collapsing, the income collapsing, my ability to enjoy or want to, the ambition, aspiration takes a backseat, right? If finances actually pull back, it takes a backseat, because even if I have an income, certain level of income projection, finances says no, I'm not funding it. It takes a backseat. And the third factor, which is the EV related de-rating, which has already happened in the sector. So if you actually take back your observation in last 2 to 3 years, most of these risks have actually played out, right? Now you just need to go back. So if I were to take you back, the last 3 years, especially post Demon era, right? You've not seen a level of nominal GDP growth. What we are all used to is 7, 8, 10%, 7 to 8% inflation, 7 to 8% growth. And this is how 13, 14% growth that we all used to enjoy as a country. And when we talk about country income, somehow it percolates down to us. That's because of the lower inflation also, everything has actually come down for us, right? That's one factor which has already played out or is also playing in. So if your income generation is low, wealth effect will be low, and that's how somewhere the thing will start to kick in. The second impact which is there is that in the lower income generation, what we have seen in last 2.5 years, the whole host of things has happened. You have shifted from BS3 to BS4, BS4 to BS6. It's a leap bound technology that we have already done it. On top of that, if you now realize versus 4 year back for car versus now, every car will have minimum 2 airbag. This is just an example of the feature from the safety angle the governments have already enforced, right? On a two-wheeler, there is a ABS braking or CBS braking. there are many features which are there, which have come in either the car or the vehicle. So the basic point here is that in last 2.5 years, the cost of vehicle has gone up significantly. But at the same time, individual income has not gone up. And the third factor, especially if I were to use the word after the ILFS episode, entire NBFC has gone back burner. NBFC is one of the important, so the most important function which NBFC does is what banks cannot do. Banks have their norms, so they cannot actually go and lend to any of the section of the society. NBFCs are good in doing that asset funding, right? So post that episode, we have seen that the NBFCs have really pulled back. So one, incomes have not grown. Second, cost of the vehicle has gone up. Third, the financiers have pulled back. And there is a whole host of technology changes which have also happened. So all of this has played out, which is where you've seen that the volumes have degrown by 20%. On top of that, the COVID has hit us. And I'm sure with things normalizing from here on, I think we should be back on the track and we should catch up the longer term trend, and which is where I am more excited about.
Great, wonderful.